Hey guys, True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws and BLUESAWS.com. Hope everybody's doing all right. I have a quick update on my Blue 366. Now, I have a couple other videos that I want to throw up, but I'm just going to tell you what was in them, and they were short little clips that I recorded as I was passing by. It's been every bit of a week since the last video on this saw. Get too busy, can't jack with it. So what I did was I forget where I left off because I made a few videos, so I'm not sure what the last one I actually put on YouTube was. But in a nutshell, I was originally having a problem pressure testing this. It was losing pressure slow, and then I thought I put up the video maybe where I said, wait a minute, I'm doing something wrong, something's goofy. Long story short, it held pressure for 3 days. I pumped it up to 9 pounds, came back 2 days later, it was at 8. The next day, it was still at 8. So it was holding more pressure than it needed to for days. It wasn't an air leak. Again, I run right to a pressure to leak down test. I should say leak down test. I think people get that confused with compression test. Compression test is wonderful, but it's fairly useless in the scheme of things, whereas a leak down test, a vacuum and pressure test, is the most important thing you can do. So I run to it a lot, right immediately to a leak down test. So in that, it held pressure. So I go to the carb, and actually Doug Philbeck posted on here, hey, it sounds like you got something sticking in your metering lever. And I thought that was a real good suggestion. I'm like, he's probably right. And what I found, let me grab this from over here. I actually had a two-pronged. Actually, let me grab the carb that was in this thing. It's over here in a little labeled bag now. It was a two-pronged problem. Well, not exactly. Well, no, exactly. It was a two-pronged problem. What I noticed when I got to looking at the carb is when you're running the velocity stack, the filter's not covering your compensator. And I have a little piece of foam in there just so nothing gets in it. And I'm like, maybe old Doug's right. I don't know when I lost the piece of foam that was in there. Maybe it sucked in a chip or something and it's plugged. I ripped the carb off, and the first screw I put my screwdriver on to open up the carb is loose. And I mean, like looser than it should have been. Not snug. I mean, less than snug. Loose. So, okay, now I know why the saw was racing. It was leaking air from there. Tighten it down. I'm like, okay, this is a problem fixed. And I go to put it on. And I don't know if I could show you this. Here, maybe you guys could see this. I was hoping to sharpen this chain while we're doing this. See how it says keep on this one? I try to label them. And this was the one that I was keeping for myself because I had a problem when I did this carb. When you do these, you have to do some modifications to the shafts. You have to file them to make them fit the bigger 44 butterflies. And that wasn't exactly the problem. What the problem was is the brass shaft going through there. When I tightened down the butterfly on this one, I tightened it a little too aggressively and I stripped it a little bit, and it was hanging on by a thread, and that's why I was going to keep this for my own. I couldn't send this to a customer. It wasn't quite right. So what happened was I put this carb right back on the saw, started up, fine, starts right up. It's not racing. Perfect. Started in 2 pulls. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, we got this fixed. I go to hit the trigger. Trigger don't work. I know I hooked up that linkage. I'm looking, I see the linkage. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Why isn't my trigger working? What it was is on the throttle, that stripped screw allowed the butterfly to spin a little bit. So if you don't know, these butterflies aren't round. They're not oblong, but they're off round. So being off round, they have to sit in there a certain way, and it had rotated because the screw was stripped and a little bit loose. So when I put it back on, it was not sitting in there right, so you couldn't use the throttle. So it was a two-pronged problem. The first problem was that. So what I'm going to do is I know I have another shaft. I'll throw a fresh shaft in there that I didn't strip, and go from there. The problem is I use every part, so I really don't have extras. So I had another carb already made that I had been doing testing with, so I threw that on here and I've been using that. And then I will fix this carb and keep it for myself because I probably want another one of these saws for myself because it is my most used saw. I love these things. So that's the story on that. And then, well, I was about to sharpen a chain. And yes, I know this is a disgusting pig mess and I have no excuse, but I'm busy, guys. I'm busy. I really need to spend days cleaning. So I was just going to sharpen a chain as we were talking, and I know I put up another, and I don't know if that works. I don't know if I could do that with you guys right there like that. Like I'm not in a comfortable position, and then my back's to you, and I don't think I want to have a conversation with my back to you. Trying to think of what else. As far as Blue Saws goes, I want to give you guys an update. Right now, we're middle. I don't have my watch on because my watch band broke, but I wanted to give you an update. Shipping has been kind of wacky for us lately. It seems like the Postal Service, which we use pretty heavily, and we ship thousands of packages. That's all there is to it. And we have really good luck all year long with the Postal Service. But from the beginning of December till now, they have lost their minds. One in about 20 packages, so it's about a package a day for us, is going MIA. It's eventually getting to where it needs to go, but I'm shipping from Pennsylvania here. And I've been shipping stuff, say to the Carolinas or Miami in particular right now. I had a saw, no, it was parts. It was a handle. It was a top handle just going to South Carolina. It went to Wisconsin. It went all over creation. I have a couple saws going to Miami. I don't know where they are. It's not even giving me updates for days. We have your package, and that might be the one that's in Wisconsin, actually. Last I saw it was in Wisconsin. Pennsylvania to Miami is kind of a straight down the coast thing, and Wisconsin generally shouldn't have anything to do with it. But apparently that package was in Wisconsin last, and I'm hoping it gets delivered. We don't sell on Amazon anymore. We actually pulled out of Amazon. And I should probably do a dedicated video to that. We all use Amazon. Amazon's easy, dumb, brain dead. Click, click, something's ordered. We would never sell saws on Amazon. The quality of the customer, quite frankly, isn't great. You get a bunch of newbies that have no idea what they're doing, and it's problematic. We still sell on eBay heavily. I actually like eBay a lot better for selling. We have better luck. The customers seem better than the Amazon customers, and I know some of the best guys in the world buy from Amazon. I buy from Amazon occasionally if I see a deal on something, but it attracts a lot of scammy people who I think want to return something they broke, and Amazon just wasn't great. So we dropped Amazon. eBay's been great, but the problem is when you have things tied up in shipping, eBay's not going to fault me on that, but it's hard to deal with the customer. Like when you come direct to the website, you guys call me on the phone and there's a relationship there. And shit, we like the customers. I like talking to you guys. The problem that I have is with eBay customers, you're shielded behind eBay. So these guys don't really know us. They picked, somebody selling saws on eBay. And it's harder to have that go back and forth with them. Hey guys, I don't know where it is, but we're good guys. We're not ripping you off. It's in transit. So that's just frustrating right now with the shipping. And the post office has just lost their mind. And it was funny, as this is happening, I saw some kind of congressional hearing with the postmaster for the United States where they were laying into him. And the guy actually covered his ears in the middle of the meeting, didn't want to hear it, which I thought was bizarre. And I feel bad because, I hear a lot of people bitch about the post office, but they do a very good job for us. If you package your stuff correctly, listen, if you give them a half-ass box with an envelope that's half ripped open, there's no doubt you're going to lose it. I see guys sending saws with bar oil in them that leaks through the box and gasoline in it. And if we ever get a saw shipped to us, I tell people, hey, listen, drain that bar oil, maybe put a paper towel in there just to make sure, put the cap back on. Drain the fuel out, let it sit overnight. I take the air compressor and actually blow out the fuel tank. So when you get a saw from me, generally you shouldn't even really notice there was fuel in it. And it's real important to do. Then every saw we ship is in a bag. So if there was something in it somehow, which there's not, at least the bag is going to catch it before it soaks through the box. But the reason I'm telling you guys that is, if your labels are correct, they look good, your packaging's good. We have for how much we ship through the post office, we really don't have many bad interactions with them over the course of a year. And I'm talking thousands and thousands of items shipped. A couple go missing or get damaged. I've had Walbro carbs where it looked like maybe it fell out of something and they ran it over with a forklift. Okay, that stuff kind of happens. I've had things, and my mail gal actually told me with some of the smalls that they go in these big bags and then they dump the bags into another thing depending when they're going to sort them. And sometimes things will get stuck in the bags and then that bag will get used and sent somewhere else. That's why your stuff winds up, it's supposed to go to, from Pennsylvania to New York and it wound up in California somehow. Well, it got in the California bag by accident. Anyhow, guys, didn't want to bore you. Just wanted to give you an update on this saw, but I didn't put it in wood, but it was running great. So I'm pretty happy again. And I had ran it with a different carb earlier and, of course, hit something right away with the chain. So I'm going to get to sharpening this chain and then calling it a night. Sorry to give you too much information and a whole bunch of stuff you didn't want to hear. I wish I had some good saw stuff to tell you, but I don't. True Grit, Scott Bulletproof Saws, and BLUESAWS.com. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, fellas.